Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well in this new year. Today I thought I'd try something a little different, something a little bit more fun, and kind of give you some more background information on me and kind of why I got into doing this on YouTube. This is going to involve doing the BookTube Newbie Tag, and I'll make sure to leave the link to the original creator in the description box, but I think every booktuber eventually does this, and I really kind of want to do that as well to give you more background information on myself. I was really looking for something to kind of accomplish this somehow, and I looked all over the internet, and somehow I never came across this one until I just had randomly watched a video on YouTube. I was like, yeah, you know what, that one looks pretty fun. I'll give it a try. So let's get right into it with question one. So question number one is, why did you start this channel? And I think the real reason that I had started is I had started to fall in love with reading again, and I really wanted to connect with other people on YouTube that are doing booktube as well, and kind of make friends and connections in this growing community that we have. And it's just so it kind of brings me joy to see that just new channels and everything is just sprouting, and there's just going to be new videos, new recommendations, new books coming out, and it just really inspired me to kind of create my own channel and give my own opinions, and then still connect with others that have those different opinions or same opinions, and just come together. And we all got this love for reading, so let's all just come together. Question number two is, what are some fun and unique things that you can bring to BookTube? Other than putting out more book recommendations out there, I think I really kind of just want to bring a fun environment that's welcome to everyone. And I think the best way to accomplish this kind of warm, welcoming environment is to kind of get over these jitters that I have right now. I'm just constantly, when I'm planning videos, I'm just scripting out everything, and I really kind of want to just be more myself and just speak more from my heart. And I think once I do this, it'll just be like, the videos will be so much better, I hope anyway. I also really want to start doing some reading vlogs as well that will involve my ninja cat that I got. She's down here right at my feet right now, but she is literally like if Jackie Chan and Bruce Lee raised a cat, she would be it. She literally, as soon as I wake up or throughout the night, she'd just be jumping off the walls and doing flips and climbing over everything. So I think once I get these reading vlogs up, you'll really see how much of an energy ball this little thing is, and I just love her for it. Another thing that I've kind of been pondering over is coming up with ways to make it more kind of interactive with you guys, like coming up with ideas that involve you in picking choices or giving you a topic to kind of think of throughout the week and then decide. Like, one of the things I've kind of thought about is doing like a writing prompt, maybe once or twice a month, just putting it out there on social media, and then letting you guys fill out that writing prompt, and then let you guys vote on each other's different works, and then that winner, the one with the most likes, or however I do that, well, then kind of I will read it on the channel for everyone else to kind of enjoy as well. That's one thing I've kind of been thinking of. I also, like I mentioned in my reading goals, I kind of want to create like a what is it called? A tag, my own tag, and it's been difficult right now with school, but I'm hoping soon, in coming months, that'll be out there for everyone as well. Question number three is, what are you most excited for about this channel? Like I said in the first question, I really just want to connect with you guys and other booktubers, and that's just something that I kind of value, and making friendships that last for forever if I can. And that's really something that's kind of inspired me to keep doing this, especially in the beginning. Like, it's tough, even though that this platform is very not so much face to face in person, if you know what I mean, but there's still just ways to connect nowadays that with the modern technology that is so amazing. And I think making friends and these connections can really bring me some joy, and that really inspires me to just keep going. And another thing I really want, or just even watching BookTube, is that I found so many more book recommendations that I would not have found if I didn't look into this. Like, I remember when I first started reading, like, I was just reading all kind of like the bestsellers, but once I got into BookTube and watching these other videos, I found some like hidden gems and diamonds in the rough that I've really stayed in it, like carved out a place in my heart, and I'm thankful for that, and I'm really excited to kind of read my own hidden gems and then give those out to you, so maybe they have that same impact. Question number 4 is, why do you love reading? Growing up, I was always the kid that was constantly reading. I always carried a book with me, and it didn't matter like what genre. I was more into kind of like the history books because that's what wasn't checked out at the library. So I'd read a lot of those, and that's what really got me into history. But ever since I've grown up, books have surrounded me in some ways. My parents would always give me gifts that involved reading. I would finish a series and they would bring me another, and it was just kind of sparked that love for reading from a young age, and it just carried with me throughout most of my life until about college, and I had really started to get back into video games. I had played some in high school. I had played a lot of video games in high school, but once I got into college, I mostly played more video games with friends instead of reading, and then lately I'd picked back up with reading, and that just sparked that love and reminded me of those joys that I had when I was growing up. And reading has always kind of been a release for me. It has definitely got me through a lot of tough times, especially this last year with COVID. And I think without reading, I would have been a whole different person today. And I'm thankful that reading has kind of put me in this place that I am today. Question number 5 is, what book or series got you into reading? I think, like many other readers, the Percy Jackson series is really what got me into reading. I remember getting the first 2 books for my birthday, and I was kind of behind a little bit. They were already releasing the, I think, 3rd and 4th books, so I was quite a bit behind. And I remember immediately reading those first 2 and begging for like the next 2 installments. And thankfully, like, my birthday is pretty close to this, Christmas, so I had got those books again for Christmas. And I don't know what it is. Like, I've always, like, history has always been one of my favorite subjects, and mythology in general. So reading about like this Greek mythology and kind of imagining myself as a demigod somewhat is really what brought that love for reading. And it's a funny story. In grade school, I remember like that little pocket guide. I think it's somewhere. Here it is. This thing right here. I remember just one of my friends had it, and there's a test in there, and we would take the test, and then we would just kind of imagine different scenes of like pretending to be demigods of some sort. Like, we were those kind of geeky nerd kids that were like that, playing on the playground like that. So that's really what that Percy Jackson series is really what got me into reading. Question number 6 is, what would you ask your favorite booktubers? I have quite a few favorite booktubers. It's crazy like how many of them I'm subscribed to and just constantly kind of watch their videos, but I think I really want to know like what really got them into reading and what inspired them to start their own BookTube channels, because it's just interesting to see how reading has impacted their lives and if there's stories behind that. And I really want to know kind of what their future is for their BookTube channels. Question number 7 is, what challenges do you think will be the hardest to overcome? I think one thing that I really struggle with is the filming and the editing and all that different stuff. Like, I just know the beginner stuff, but thankfully one of my friends is a film major, and she said she would help me with some of this. So now I just got to reach out to her and figure out like different ways to make the videos better and kind of sound better, like especially with these first couple of videos I've been watching back, and they are god awful, like they are terrible. And this one still probably isn't going to be as good as I hope them to be, but I really kind of want to get over these jitters and just let myself just go freely and speak from my heart rather than a notebook that I have over here that's kind of scripted out every word I've said. And I think that's going to be the hardest thing to overcome, because I'm very studious of some sort. Like I don't, that's probably the wrong word to say, but I just got to plan everything out, and it's definitely been hard kind of going back from that and just adding little bullet points and kind of allowing myself to speak more freely. Question number 8 is, when did you start reading? So I can't remember exactly what age, but it was really young. My parents had always read to me and my little sister every night, like different stories, and they would kind of come up with their own. And that is really what introduced me to reading. And thankfully, like, we always had books lying around, so they were always within reach, and I would just constantly kind of pick them up, and once I get through that, I'd pick up another. And that's kind of, it's hard to say, but it was really young. Question number 9 is, where do you read? I feel like I don't have like a very specific place. I like to read everywhere. Where I always carry a book with me. I was always taught that you never should trust anyone who doesn't bring a book with them. So when I'm going to school or kind of going away on vacation, or when we have vacation, thanks to COVID, but I always make sure to carry like a couple books with me, whether that's like on my Kindle or like an audiobook. I always listen to kind of audiobooks at the gym, and just constantly have something with me. Like I feel like I'm missing something if I don't have a book with me. But as far as like a specific place, I think the closest thing I have is this like ugly, torn up green couch over here that I will kind of like sit at every night and just read with Izzy. And that's about the only place that's really kind of set in stone where I always read there. And the final question number 10 is, what kind of books do you read? I like to kind of get into different genres, but definitely fantasy and sci-fi are my favorites. I've always loved those, especially growing up. I think the H.G. Wells, like The Time Machine and The War with Worlds, I think that's what it's called. It's embarrassing that I don't know. That's probably one of the most famous authors, I believe. Sci-fi authors, anyway. But I really got those, and that's kind of what started the fantasy and sci-fi. But I like thrillers. I just like them all, to be honest. Like horror, I've only read a couple horrors, and I've liked them. I want to branch out more into these different genres, because mostly I read just fantasy and sci-fi, and with a little bit of thriller and horror kind of mixed in. But I really want to just branch out to these other ones, because I think there's so many books out there that are just so captivating and just waiting to be read. But I'll still definitely read more fantasy and sci-fi for the majority. And like I said earlier, I've always been kind of like a constant learner, so I'm like one of those weird types like where I will pick up just random history books and read them, like especially when I go to like my used bookstore. I'll kind of like look in those history sections and kind of just pick up like a one at random and read it somehow, and sometimes they're pretty boring for a lot of people. I think most people find them pretty boring, but for some reason like they have never bored me, and it still takes me forever to get through them. But like I've just always been like a constant learner, and I like learning especially about like ancient history and the Assyrians and Phoenicians, Egyptians, Greek mythology, Mayan mythology, all those different things. I just like to kind of learn new things every day. That was just a quick kind of intro BookTube Newbie Tag, kind of gave you a little bit of information about myself. And I'd like to say that this is the first video filmed in front of these new bookshelves that I got. Don't mind the gap right here, but put these bad boys together with a cheap multi-tool that was very difficult, and I'm just thankful that they got them up because now my books are spread out a little bit more. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and check out social media that I have down below. So without further ado, this is Mission Control logging off. I hope you all have a nice day.